Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show.
Hey, Magic Makers. Today is one of those episodes that you're going to be like, why are you talking about LinkedIn on a fitness podcast? But stick with me for a second, because this is what I know. Your health matters. Your stress matters. And a lot of people, one of the biggest sources of stresses in their life is career. Maybe you love your job. Maybe you're quietly plotting your escape. Or maybe you've opened a LinkedIn profile and thought, okay, now what? That is why I have brought Miss Katie Corliss from Outside the Box Solutions right here on the show. Katie is the LinkedIn Whisperer. We get into how to make your profile not look boring, what the hell you should be actually posting on LinkedIn, how to build real connections, not just collecting contacts that you're like, oh, I kind of sort of know this person, and how LinkedIn can quietly open doors for your next career move. Whether you're currently looking for a job, looking to build your brand, wondering what the heck you should do after you made that account decades ago, myself included, this conversation is going to give you something really simple, ways to just jumpstart your LinkedIn journey. So grab your notebooks because Katie brought the goods. Let's get into it. This week's iTunes review is brought to you by Jackie O Jazz Hands. She writes a great, funny podcast about real topics we all struggle with. Kim gives great advice and support to people to live their best life. That just fills my heart. Thank you so much for taking the time to write me that 5-star review. And for those of you who have yet to leave that 5-star review, all you have to do is go on to iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast and do the same thing, and I will read it on the air. So thank you so much, Jackie O Jazz Hands. It fills me up when I read those reviews from the heart. Enjoy the podcast. All right, Magic Makers. I know I say it all the time, but this one I'm really excited about because I met Katie probably about 2 years ago in a networking event, and she was always on my list. I'm like, I need to have this girl on the show. I need to have this girl on the show. And I want to have her on the show because we're talking about a platform either you love, secretly stalk, or you're like, I have one, but I don't know what the hell to do with it. I'm talking about LinkedIn. And I know this is a fitness show, and you're like, why are we talking about LinkedIn? I want to talk about things from time to time that are about your life. And one of the biggest cornerstones of everybody's life is their career. So if you've ever looked at your profile and thought, ooh, this is boring, or wow, this looks like a weird resume from 2020, we are in the right place because I brought guest Katie Corliss on. She is from Outside the Box Solution, and she's a LinkedIn. This is her jam, her jelly. It is just her thing. She always comes to these networking calls with like something random and interesting about LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, maybe I should pay attention. I don't know. But she's your girl who's going to really help you understand how to optimize and really monetize your LinkedIn profile. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Miss Kim. I'm just so excited to spend time with you outside of all the networking we typically do throughout the week.
I know, usually you have like a 30-second, I'm Katie, I do this, goodbye. Right? So how did you fall in love with LinkedIn?
Honestly, LinkedIn became something that just called to me. So I started Outside the Box Solutions in 2012 to help social media management, to help my clients with social media in general at the time. And that included LinkedIn. It really wasn't until 2019 that I had a client's husband reach out. He had heard through the water cooler grapevine that there was going to be a merger of his company and one of their competitors because his company wasn't doing as well in the backseat of the numbers.
Right.
And he's like, if we merge, I know that
we're going to be on the bottom.
Yes, 50% of the staff is gone. I also don't know what the French toast I'm doing on LinkedIn, but you know what to do, Katie, because you do it for my wife. And I was like, yeah, but I haven't done really corporate professionals.
Yeah.
So he and I spent the time figuring out what he wanted to do. He knew it was going to be at least 3 to 4 months, if not a little bit longer. So what do I need to optimize it? Do I really need to post every day? How do I build my network? And how do I do this to where it's not so blaringly obvious that I'm going to be looking for a new job?
Hey, real quick before we dive in, you know, those posts you see, hey, I'm heading to Aruba in 2 weeks. What can I do to lose the weight fast? Girl, Aruba didn't sneak up on you. March didn't sneak up on you either. Life didn't sneak up on you. It just got fuller, more layers, more responsibility, more of everything than when we were 25. Guess what? Back then we could wing it and we could bounce back by Thursday. And right now we're still trying to play that same game, and our life is completely different. You're either sprinting to some finish line or stopping and starting over and over and over again. And here's what I know after years of coaching women just like you. There are times to push, there are times to pull back, and there are times just to hold the line. Think of it like seasons. And knowing what season you're in, that is going to change everything. That's exactly what we're covering in my free live session on March 25th. It's all about the 90-day game plan. Your life, your reschedule, a real plan that finally fits. So do me a favor, head over to the show notes and grab your spots and let's frickin' go.
So that's where we started. And I learned very quickly with him that it's not as complicated as people presume.
Yeah.
I'm used to working with business professionals, helping them grow their brand and their business. It's really not different. Too much, actually, with a corporate client. And here's why. Because your skills is your brand. But instead of working for yourself, like him and I do, you work for a company. Here in the United States, your W-2 status for tax codes. Not knowing who else might be listening to this, I just say corporate in general because it's a pretty global term, right?
Yeah.
Work for somebody else to make sure that the lights stay on, food's in the refrigerator, you're able to get really cool unicorn horns if you want them. You're able to do those really cool things.
So, and you just nailed it. Like most people, like when I think of LinkedIn, my jam and jelly is like, my Instagram, Facebook, where like I can be less fluffy. I can be more fluffy there, where I feel like when LinkedIn, I have to be like very buttoned up. My grammar has to be spot on. Is that what most people, even if I'm not looking for a job, can I show my personality on LinkedIn the way I can?
Yes. I wear a unicorn horn for good golly Molly sakes. Now, I also have been dubbed because of all the different networking groups I'm in as a LinkedIn unicorn. So that's why I've got my unicorn horn. But you'd be surprised how many people really appreciate for the content that I put out, right? I do embrace photos of myself at networking events with the unicorn horn. It makes me a very easy, approachable icebreaker. Hey, why are you wearing a unicorn horn? Then I'm able to have really good conversations, right? And I love it because out on LinkedIn, I'm able to share images of me out and about networking. So what I tell my corporate professionals first is get out there a little bit more. If you know that there's going to be some happy hour networking thing that's right around the corner from you, pop in for a few minutes and take a couple of photos. You're going to be passing out your cards to whatever you're connected to. Let's say that you are an attorney, okay? Let's say that you're an attorney and you've got your little business card and it's indicating that you work for such and such law firm. That's fine. You're still out there getting your name out there, getting the company or the law office, the law firm you work for, out into your community a bit better. So that is an easy way that you're able to share professional development posts out on LinkedIn, right? Also, what are you reading? I love business books.
Gotcha.
And that is one of the top things I always tell my clients, whether they're business owners or corporate, or sometimes a little bit of both, right? They're currently corporate, but they're working on their side hustle, as we call it here in the States, right? To get out of the corporate to put on that business unicorn horn, so to speak.
Gotcha. And you're right now you're giving me things that are simple. I don't have to do a lot of thinking because, most people are going to some type of networking, professional development type thing. And how hard is it for you to be like, oh, let's take a quick picture? Because when we first think of taking a quick picture, it's like for the gram, right? I don't think of putting a picture like that on LinkedIn. And so then I could also quote the novice here. Can I tag the event that I went to? So now it's like, oh, you were at that event too. So kind of could start a little bit of a dialogue if I didn't go. But the other thing I liked about it was that you talked about books because, you could also be, I'm a true crime junkie. You could also be like, I just read the latest, or binge watch whatever on Netflix, who else is watching, so that it's kind of spurs this conversation. Because, you and I in, one of the networking events we go to, this woman, she's like, talk about nothing. She goes, that's how you create connection.
Right. Now, what I will say is Wednesdays, I always have a poll that goes out on my LinkedIn. Right now, because ironically, when you're interviewing me, it's December. So a lot of my polls are, how are you closing 2025?
Yeah.
Right? How are you looking forward into 2026? Now, I know when this airs, it's going to be kind of toward the end of Q1, roughly, in 2026. So in the March timeframe, I'm going to be doing polls on Wednesdays that are talking about what are you excited about coming up in Q2? What are some of I'm a big believer in quarterly goals.
Right.
One big goal for my overall business for 2026. But then 4 little goals that help me accomplish that big pie in the sky dreamer kind of option, right? And that is what I always suggest for anybody that works with me, is do a poll once a week. You only really need to post 2 or 3 times a week anyway on LinkedIn. So if you want the engagement, you want organic engagement, a poll is fantastic.
Right. Because it's easy.
Right. So let's take you, Kim. You are a fitness fabulous lady, right? You know the type of clients you want to work with. So maybe one of your polls that you could do about the time this podcast airs is, how are you getting ready for your summer fitness goals? Right? Because there are people that want to lose weight so they look good in a body.
Right.
I personally, I'm like, you put a swimsuit on a body, that's a swimsuit body. That's how I am, right? But I know not everybody's like that. There are people who are worried about what they've put onto their frame in terms of weight and how it maybe shifted, right?
Right.
So here in March, while this episode airs, you might want to be looking at doing a poll on a Wednesday. And Wednesday is the best day to do a poll, by the way. Middle of the week engagement is always really, really good on LinkedIn. So do this poll process on a Wednesday. And let's go back to our attorney. Maybe the attorney from the example a couple minutes ago, he could do a poll about, did you know the latest laws regarding fill in the blank? Maybe he's a divorce attorney and maybe he's in the state of Massachusetts. And there was a couple new laws that dropped in the start of 2026.
Right.
So he's just trying to make sure that the people that are in his network know that as a divorce attorney, hey, on Wednesdays, I'm going to put some polls out there because I want people to understand what they need to know in the vein of law I practice in.
Right. Yeah. And so anyone can put out a poll. And it also shows me as an authority, like I am keeping up in the malarkey of my, whatever my industry is.
Right. And with all the Zoom rooms, I'll take a couple snapshots. I have a little unicorn. Her name is Rarity. She's like my flat Stanley.
Oh my God.
And I will literally put her on the corner of my Chromebook that I'm on. I'll take a quick little picture and I will actually put that out on my company page on LinkedIn because it shows people that Outside the Box Solutions, I'm out and about. I'm in person. I'm reading books. I am in networking rooms all over the world, right? And that's huge. So if you're a corporate person and you're listening to this thinking, I don't know what to post, you can even post when you're part of a business meeting. Let's say that you're a software designer and you're going to go to some type of conference down in Florida sometime here in 2026. Take photos of that.
Yeah.
Tag the event anybody that's near you in the photos, tag, Danny Tanner. I'm a millennial, so I'm going to be throwing out millennial references, y'all. Either love me or hate me, it's cool, right? So I got Danny Tanner here, and I got Tim Taylor here. You can clearly tell I'm a 90s kid. Just dad references. But that way I can tag these individuals that are next to me in the photo out on LinkedIn. And what that does is our photo goes into my network, but also Danny's and Tim's.
Right.
Right? And if you have an organization that's putting this event together, you tag the event and you tag the company. So then you have multiple spaces and places that you're tagging people. And all you need to do on LinkedIn is the @ symbol and start typing out Danny, and it'll pop up Danny Tanner. @ symbol Tim, and you'll find Tim Taylor.
No, but it's funny because I, if I'm that person who's like, I'll go nowhere. But you're right. Like there are company things that you go to. My husband's in a corporate event, and
perfect.
His company has 3 or 4 big things, and so he could easily be like flying to Germany for the kickoff meeting, and he's at the airport and tag the people that he's at the airport with, and then when he's in the meeting, take a picture of whoever's speaking. You're like, hey, Joe Schmo got to speak here at the kickoff meeting here in Frankfurt. Gotcha. Yeah, and that shows that you're, out and about without feeling like you're sitting here looking at a blinking cursor, being like, what the hell do I post about? When LinkedIn is a nice way to blend, like, I just don't sit here in my cube. Or you can show, this is me sitting in my cube getting shit done.
Exactly. And that's why I love when people talk about books.
Yeah.
One of my best books I read was, the title's called Pivot.
Yes. I have it on the bookshelf right now.
Okay. And I love how she wrote it. I cannot remember the author's name. I think her last name is Blake, I believe. Jenny Blake, I think. But it's how she kept pivoting from A to W to Alpha 5. And she just kept pivoting in her life. But every pivot she took was able to help her build her skill. The metaphorical toolbox of skills she had was due to all of her pivots.
Yeah.
And when I posted, what is the best business book you've read? That was one of the most interactive posts I had ever had.
Yeah.
Right? I will also say that whether you're corporate or not and you're listening to this, when you're out on your LinkedIn feed and you see somebody that has an open to work green banner on, and they're posting, I have sent out 500 resumes. I've been on, 30, 40 first round interviews, 20, 30 other round interviews, and I still don't have anything. Share those posts. The most viral post I had in 2025 was because of somebody that had been sharing consistently during the year 2025. She was open to work. And this woman was executive level and just kept getting doors shut. I shared her post 3 different times throughout 2025. And the final time I did it was, I think she said it was something like day 300 without a job. And then I tagged 7 of my HR contacts. I was like, people, do any of you have contacts that can help her? So that one post got 4,000 plus impressions. And it landed that lady an effing job after almost a year of being unemployed.
Wow. That's
because
really good.
I was like, I am tired of seeing this woman. Her name is Julie, and I'm tired of seeing her struggling.
Right.
So if you're listening to this and you see somebody's face for their profile has that little green banner on this portion of their face, share it. If you can figure out how to share it and it's a public access post, share it.
Yeah.
If you got HR people, tag them. Like, throw them out there, because by me tagging those 7 people, 3 people had options for Julie, and one of them had the absolute ideal position that really wasn't ever posted anywhere.
And, everything you just said, I really liked, because it's really easy for, like you said, this woman, qualified, smart, accomplished, to feel invisible on LinkedIn. And so for you, like, you gave us lots of ways for me to increase the visibility to my profile. Now, are there any kind of red flags for profiles that I should be like, don't do that?
I'm going to tell you a couple things to do, especially if we are getting close to starting quarter number 2 in 2026 by the time you're hearing my voice. Change your face 4 times a year.
Oh.
Your profile image needs to change 4 times a year.
Oh.
What this does is it shows LinkedIn you are not a spam account, you're not a bot account. You are a legitimate person, right? And that's what you want to deal with is are legitimate people. So I always tell my people, 4 times a year you change it. That could be the first month of every quarter.
Right.
That could be the last month of every quarter. That could be the middle. I do not care.
Right.
Right? I am being interviewed right now in December. So that means in January, I'm going to change my face. So
Gotcha.
I typically change it the first month of every quarter. Or if I have some type of awesome picture taken at a networking event, or I've paid for a branding shoot in Philadelphia, because that's where I live, at the Ben Franklin Bridge. It's one of the coolest bridges around. I will put that up. But I also know that 4 times a year shows LinkedIn I'm a legit person. Okay? Whether you're corporate, your business owner, doesn't matter. If you have your presence somewhere on LinkedIn, change your face 4 times a year. Okay? What I will also say is as you're like, do I really want to connect with Ginger Rogers? Like, she seems legit, but maybe not.
Right.
I always open up somebody's profile and I look to see, have you even posted anything?
Right.
I've said no to people that have 10,000 connections because they've never posted. I question that all the time. There was a CEO of a large company, but had no posts on it. So I went to verify that he was the CEO of a large company, and he was, but it was a duplicate account, and nobody ever saw it on. They were like, oh, there's a CEO of this really major company, and they want to be connected with me. And they got very excited. That's why this fake account had 10,000 plus connections.
Right. And it was God knows who.
Right, exactly. So if they don't have any posts, I don't connect with them.
Right.
I'm just very point blank to that.
So what if so now someone was like, oh crap. I just kind of put up my info and I've never posted. Is so that's your sign right now. Like if you are someone who is a real person and you've never posted, go on and post. And we've given you, several ideas of what to post.
And since you really only have to post a minimum of 2 and no more than 3 in order to get that good algorithm going for LinkedIn, doing a weekly poll, that's an easy win, no matter your industry. And then sharing something once a week, a networking event you've gone to, a Zoom room you've been connected to. Let's say that you are traveling, like you mentioned your husband maybe going to Germany. I get a couple photos of me at the airport, in the airplane, at the other airport, and that's one post right there.
Right.
And then have some additional content of the actual conference, of what's going on, right? Because it shows people, if you are a corporate professional or otherwise, if you're going to be traveling, that you travel.
Right.
Especially for those of you who are maybe looking for a job, right? You're hearing in the water cooler, whether that's a virtual cooler or an actual, I don't know, because some of the office spaces really haven't gone back here in 2025 when we're having this conversation.
Right.
Fingers crossed, people get back to actual offices soon. And if you're hearing that rumble at the water cooler, legit, if you know you want to travel more in your corporate world, have the photos, because it shows HR people, it shows those hiring managers that you have the capability of getting on a plane, right? You've got active IDs, you've got active passports if you're traveling international, and you're able to be an asset to that company.
Right. Especially because, I've in my corporate life, I've had a career where I was an 80% travel person. And so, it's a different person who can travel 80% of their work.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. That's not in my bandwidth anymore. So we talked a little bit about like professional branding as well as kind of corporate branding. Like how do you, if I'm a corporate person, is my personal brand as important as to kind of how I portray myself versus corporate Kim?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I kind of like the intertwining of both.
Okay.
I currently have a corporate person who is associated with the government. She was a government contractor. So in the tail end of 2025, as we know, the government shut down. And that's when she started working with me via a group program I have. And when I started working with her, she was terrified. She's like, literally, Katie, my life is on hold. I don't know if the government's going to open. And this is terrifying because I don't know what's going to happen in 2020 and beyond. So the thing that we focused on during the group program with her, it was more, I need you to showcase how badass your skills are. Then I want you to build 20% of your overall connections. I want them to be HR somehow. Recruiting. If you can find recruiters that own their own recruiting agencies or own staffing agencies, winner. That's how Julie got the job. Was 2 of the people that I tagged own their own recruiting agencies. And they had clients that nowhere else were posting what Julie did for her skills. That's what they needed. Right? So this woman who's a government contractor, we focused that during the group program. Instead of her trying to just build connections in the 2 or 3 cities she wanted more connections, we specifically built HR connections. We wanted staffing firms. We wanted recruiting specialists. We wanted HR coordinators at big mover shaker kind of companies in those 3 cities. So we were very targeted on what kind of connections got added into her network. And then from her posting aspect, we didn't just have her go willy-nilly. We were very strategic. I wanted people to understand she is phenomenal at graphic design. Here are some examples. I had her mock up a new logo for me as just something to post. And one of the other group members also was looking to have a new logo. So she did a mock. And this government contractor was able to get, via these posts, a couple of freelancing opportunities to do redoing of people's logos solely based on her posts, right? And the beauty of that was then that stemmed more actual paying clients.
Right.
So she was able to have the mocked up logos and 2-3 weeks later, the actual paid logos, right? I know that as you and I are chatting here at the tail end of December 25, she has 2 or 3 interviews before Christmas. And they are connected to the new connections we built for her and the consistency of her showcasing her skills, her personality, and her skills. Because when you hire somebody, right, you hire them. I know I would never get away with showing up at a corporate space with this. I know that. But because I am my own boss, I'm like, look, I'm wearing unicorn horns all over the place, y'all. This one I made myself, I'm wearing it.
And it's, but I like what you talked about because there was strategery, right? So it wasn't like, but for you as a career person, I have to take a step back and I have to say, okay, in my next iteration of my career, what is it that I want? So that when I'm out there kind of showcasing, like, she knew she wanted to stay in design. So she's like, what are the little things that I can do with the design that can showcase, like, I have some talent? Not that saying logos are easy because I am not a creative person, but creating someone a logo is a simple thing compared to be like, I'm going to take time enough to create you a website.
Exactly.
So it's like something really simple that you would appreciate. I could probably charge you a little bit for it, but it shows that, like, hey, we took it from this is what her old was to her new one. And
exactly.
And I can also show my thought process of, like, this is how I shifted from.
You're behind the scenes.
Right.
Exactly.
How I came up with the colors of the logo or blah, 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 blah. So I really like that. So for most people who are looking for a job, I think their first step is, I'm calling it Googling because I know it's not Googling, but like going into the search bar and typing in, computer software engineer or like, HR professional versus kind of saying, what is it that I'm trying to do so that I can start to think about who is it that I'm trying to attract?
Exactly. So when I have worked a few times in my strategy sessions with corporate professionals who are specifically hardcore looking on the career front, I mean, they are eyes on the prize. They know their ducks, right? The 2 things that we start out right away. I do not have them go to that jobs tab out on LinkedIn. No, ma'am. We do not do that here, Kim. What we do is we go into that search bar out on LinkedIn and we put in now hiring and then their job title.
Gotcha.
So let's pretend that we're working with a software developer. Okay, that's my client in this imaginary situation. So I would have that person go, now hiring software developer. or if it's a particular type of software
Right.
iteration they can do. I would specifically have them go in and then find just the posts. Let me say that for those of you who are in the back. Just find the posts. Because what you want to see is people saying, hey, my company, AXYZ.
So that
is
way I can see
hiring.
it's Katie is posting and I can connect to Katie versus going through the roundabout way.
So that's the first thing we do is we have them search the post within usually the last 30 days. Now hiring position. And that way they can actually see in real time who's hiring. The name of the company, whomever is actually posting it is more likely an employee. Maybe they're the hiring manager. Maybe they're the director of the entire operation for that whole department. Or maybe they're actually like, this position we would be teammates.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it doesn't matter who's posting, but you know that it's an actual job and it's not a bunch of bullshit and fluff. Because I don't like bullshit and fluff, honestly. The other thing that I have people do, so this software developer in my imaginary client world again, I would also have him go in and say, or her, we'll just say them because I'm nice like that. Okay.
Right.
Them, because I know there's a lot of powerful ladies in STEM. I live in
Right.
Philadelphia. I know this. So I would have my client go in and literally go through their top 10 to 15 companies that they want to work at. I'd have them go into the company page. There's a little jobs tab in the company page for XYZ company. You create a job alert. You just click the little job alert. You type in what you're looking for. Are you willing to be remote? Are you willing to be hybrid? Are you willing to be in the office? What that job title is, the location. It's a very quick little form. But what that does is once you send it to that company, whoever monitors the company page, they get a notification. Hey, Susie Q. Hey, Jim Rogers. Hey, fill in the blank is interested in X title or X position or Y role. And it allows people on the opposite side, in the actual company that you want to work at, they now know that Susie Q or Jim Rogers is interested in working at their company under, and sometimes, honestly, depending on the company, the way they lay it out, you could have up to 4 titles, up to 4 roles that you could indicate to that company, hey, I'm an ideal candidate for A, B, C, and D. Because a lot of people they get so overwhelmed with the job tab, and it's a lot of bullshit and fluff. You don't really know if anybody's truly applying because of the amount of AI that we have out there.
Right. And, recently my niece has been looking for a job and she was kind of like, she goes, you never know. Cause she's like, real people don't look at your resumes anymore. It's kind of like, if it's not the right keyword, you're, sent to the back of the line. I really liked everything you said has just been really awesome. And I know for many people here, hopefully you've been jotting down some notes on LinkedIn, but I also know that Katie also, if you wanted literally get into the granular weeds, Katie does offer, right now it's a several week program that she runs that really, now in that program, we're literally opening up LinkedIn and we're going from rooter to tutor in that program?
Exactly. So what I do with my group program is each week on a Monday, I give you a PDF of tasks, assignments, however you want to phrase it. So each week what we're going to tackle, right? And if you got questions, you come find me. I also, in that group, because I make it a private group out on LinkedIn, I'm going to share tips and tricks. I'm going to make it easy. Like, hey, if you're looking for some really awesome people to add into your network, today I'm going to share 10 profiles. And then I share 10 profiles. So people are like, oh my gosh, I can add recruiters in. I can add a lot of people maybe want to do speaking engagements, right? They want to be on varying stages. Maybe it's a 10X. I have several 10X speakers and TEDx people who actually own the stage. So they're looking for speakers.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we go through this program, we're going to update everything. We're going to monetize in your profile the best ways to monetize things because we're going to optimize it. And in the process of optimization, at some point it clicks into monetization.
Gotcha.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. So like, where do most people overcomplicate LinkedIn?
What to post.
Ah,
What to post and what kind of voice to have.
yeah. I know that I struggle with voice because, I have been off the corporate leash for like 15 years. And I was like, if I ever had to go and speak corporate, I'd be fired in a minute. I would just be like,
Yep.
I'd be like, oh, should we not say that here? So I know I know for me, like my tone would be very hard to like take out of like, I say whatever I want and then
Yeah.
corporatize it. So yeah, I think that is a big thing. Now, I liked everything you said. And so this is what I do. I do a lightning round at the end of my podcast. And I want
Okay.
you to tell you the first thing that comes into your mind.
Okay, perfect.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Ooh. Are DMs for real connection or DMs for other things?
Depends on the platform.
LinkedIn. Can I get a real connection with a DM?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to jump back. So I use DMs regularly on the other platforms, and it's a lot of like conversation, and then eventually it could lead into a sale. In a DM, could I like introduce two people? So like I could be like, "Hey, Katie, meet Susie," and then start the conversation that way. So that does happen on LinkedIn.
Yep. I get that a lot of times where somebody will see a post of mine and they'll say, "Hey, Katie, I need you to meet Georgia. Georgia's looking to get some LinkedIn advice. I know that you're a LinkedIn unicorn. You're probably the best person. Georgia, this is Katie. She literally wears a unicorn horn because she's just really good at this platform." So that's one way to do it. I will tell you another really cool way to do direct messaging of any level, especially with LinkedIn, is, hey, the algorithm noticed that one of my most recent posts might do well for your goals or might do well with your action. Because no matter what platform, those algorithms are looking to see what kind of posts you're doing, what kind of language you're doing, and how goal-orientated you are. So if you're a corporate person and you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, I really want a better paying job or position or role within the next 6 months, I'd start now.
Yeah.
I would start posting and being really intentional on how you're showcasing your skills. That way, when you have these messages, you can reach out and say, "Veronica, I'm really excited that the algorithm here on LinkedIn thinks that the latest post that I've done might align with what you're doing. Is it okay if I share this post with you?" Always ask. And most people are like, "Oh yeah, like, first of all, tell me how I know about the algorithm. Like, how do you do that?"
And
Right?
most people are like, especially in the corporate side, unless you're in the social space, you're like, algorithm. I don't talk that speak. But yeah, no, I like that because I know for me, a lot of my conversations do happen from I see a post and I DM somebody on the other platform. So I was glad to see that it does also work on the LinkedIn space. Long post or short punchy post?
For LinkedIn, you're going to want one long post and one short post a week.
Huh.
So your short post could be that poll we were talking about on
Right.
Wednesday. And your long post could be the book you're reading. It could be the networking event you go to. It could be the images of you traveling on a plane or you and Danny Tanner and Tim Taylor at a location in Florida at a conference. So with LinkedIn, because you need to post a minimum of 2 or 3, depending on how ballsy you're going to get, one long and one short.
Gotcha. And so now if someone were to feel like, oh, like my last rapid fire one, what's one thing someone should stop doing immediately on LinkedIn?
I'm going to do 3. Your profile image should not have anybody else's face but yours.
So
It should not have
me
your
and the
children.
kids, right?
You should not be you in your freaking wedding dress or you in a tuxedo. Good golly, Miss Molly.
Clearly you've
I
seen
don't
that.
even know how many people I literally will post. My first direct message to them is, "Hey, as a LinkedIn consultant expert, I need you to know that your profile image is docking you. The algorithm does not like the fact you're in a wedding dress because it has nothing to do with your profession. Please change that to a
God.
professional image as soon as you get this. Thank you so much."
Oh my God, I can't. That's amazing.
Right. The second red flag is when you use your about section, the first 4 lines is what hooks people.
Mm-hmm.
Use those 4 lines wisely.
Yeah.
Your about section is about you, not your company.
Right. So
it is about you. So those first 4 lines, people need to hook in, right?
Right. Now, should I not mention the company? Like, should I? So it's just
not those first 4 lines. Those are all about you in your first 4 lines. I let people know LinkedIn is my jam and jelly. It is my jam. It is my jelly. Okay.
Gotcha.
I let them know that I'm very strategic with LinkedIn, but I'm also really good at creative marketing. I think outside the box because that's the way my brain's wired.
Gotcha.
Then I go in the about section and I talk about who I am as a business owner. That's part 1. These are the cool kick-ass skills that Katie has. Part 2 is these are the types of people I've worked with and I've done very well with them. Yeah. As a business owner, I'm telling you what to do with the about section, right? Then the final piece is going to be your call to action. Do you have a free strategy? Is there a download you can offer? Is there an email list you can get on? Here's some ways to connect with me. Now, if you're a corporate person, you use those first 4 lines to hook people by what successes you've done.
Right.
If you saved your department millions of dollars. If you're a salesperson and you've been the top selling person in your company for the last 4 quarters or 7 quarters or 4 years, whatever it is, how they do their top sales, showcase that.
Right.
You know, use those 4 to hook them in. And then in a corporate person, that's when you explain all of the cool shit you do as your skills.
Gotcha.
You take your metaphorical toolbox of skills and you lay it out in your about section. Not about the company you work for, because this is your profile, y'all.
Gotcha. If I want to know what company you work for, I can go over to all of the...
You can go to your work history experience section and you can see it there.
Right.
And if you're going to do that, do it in bullet points. Don't do paragraphs.
Yeah. Because
bullet points versus paragraphs for your experience section.
We're all skimmers now.
Exactly. Exactly.
And who is LinkedIn best for in 2025?
I'm going to say everybody, really.
So it's not just me trying to find a corporate job anymore.
No. I have currently here in December, I've got 3 more days with a British UK student. Okay. Huh. He is British. He's in the United Kingdom and he is, I think by the time we'll be airing, will essentially be in his spring break of his final term in university. And what we worked on from August through December has been a very tedious process, getting his LinkedIn more attracted for master programs, whether it's going to be in the United Kingdom, it might be somewhere else in the European area, because I don't know what other countries he's been looking at. But I had building the majority of his connections to be UK-based within academia. Huh. So I've got 4 or 5 major colleges that most of his connections are built in since August of 2025.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I also had a high schooler in the summer of 2025. And I did not charge him because he was a high schooler.
Right.
But that kid here locally in Philadelphia has been slaying his LinkedIn. And his friends copy what he's doing. And then his friends' parents reach out to me to get their professional stuff done. So again, you've got students, you've got executive suite people, you've got mid-level, straight out of college, and then you have business owners who are like, Meta freezes me out too often. I need to figure out how to play better in LinkedIn.
Right.
Because it does better for business to business, but you still can do some business to consumer depending on how you present it on LinkedIn. It's all about the presentation and not doing too many ruffling of feathers, right?
Yeah. No, this has been like absolutely fabulous. And so I'm hopeful, like if you're like me, I am now like, I need to blow some dust off my LinkedIn password and head over there. Cause I'm going to tell you, I probably haven't looked at LinkedIn since 2010. So, yeah, I know. That's the last time I was in the job. So, right? But yeah, absolutely. Katie, I'm going to put all of her contacts in, but clearly you can find her on LinkedIn and your name.
Yep. It's under Katie Corliss. There will always be some face with some type of unicorn horn. I might be by a bridge. I might be by a brick wall. Who knows?
But but 4 times a year, you'll see her face change.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
this has been so enlightening, and I'm hoping that for those of you guys, I brought this on because your career for many people is a big stressor. Either you love your job or you're like, oh my God, if I have to do this job one more flipping day, I'm gonna lose it. This is how you start, and I love how it kind of aligns with fitness. You have to be clear. Where do you want to go? Because if you're not clear about where you want to go, you muddy the waters. And everything she just laid out was like, they had a path and there was a clear steps to how do you get to the path, and you had to be consistent with it. And it wasn't doing it 4 hours a day. It was literally like come up with like 1 or 2 posts a week out of 7 days. Something happens to you in 7 days.
I will tell you, when I work with my clients, I tell them 30 minutes a day is all you need. And then I break down how to use that 30 minutes depending on what their goals are. So that way they are in and out in a half hour.
Nice.
Even the student that I'm working with over in the United Kingdom, I kid you not, he's on there half hour. Granted, it's way late in the evening for him because he's a student. He's constantly working and whatnot. But after he's done with his studies and his work, he is on it like clockwork. It is so refreshing. And all it is 30 minutes a day versus doom scrolling for hours on the other platforms. And you're like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do something. Shit, what was I supposed to do again?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, this has been really, really good. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time. And
Of course.
anyone here who's like, oh my God, that was just like, a breath of fresh air, for LinkedIn. I want you to reach out to Katie. Like I said, I've known her for 2 years, and every time she shows up at an event that I'm at, I always walk away with like, oh damn, I didn't know you could do that. So I can't imagine if spending several weeks with her, what you will find out in LinkedIn. And we all got 30 minutes, especially if you are trying to find a job. And we all know that the job market has just been a little crazy lately. And I can't foresee it getting any less crazy over the next several years. So if you are still in the corporate space, absolutely reach out to Katie. She is your girl to help you deal with all the LinkedIn ups and downs.
For sure. Thank you so much, Kim, for allowing me to have such an open conversation. I actually don't get to do this so often with podcasting where I get to share this much. So I'm just so excited.
I'm like, bring the tea. I'm like, bring it on. All right. Just because I want people to walk. My goal when I have a guest on the show, I want you to be like, I took notes. I want you to take notes. And so that you're like, okay, I got at least one thing. I got about 20, but I got at least one thing that I know you can go into LinkedIn and do right freaking now. So, all right, Magic Makers, I adore you. And I will talk to you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.